So what's the story with false triggers? Well, false triggers happens to be the #1 problem with any outdoor security system. And to understand how to combat this problem, you need to understand what causes it and how the sensor actually works. Now, I'm going to put a picture here of the inside of a sensor, and you'll see the small little sensor element in the middle. That thing acts like a thermal camera. Only difference is it's only got a single pixel. So it basically sees thermal energy, and that's a big word for body heat. A typical person is 37, 38 degrees. I'm like super hot, so I happen to be like 50 degrees, but that's besides the point. And when this system, when the sensor actually sees a difference in the temperature, that's when it triggers. So if it's normally looking out in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden somebody moves in front of it, that causes a sudden change in the signal, and that causes the sensor to trigger. Now the thing is, it's not just bodies that make heat. You can have a piece of shrub, a tree or a bush. It's hanging in the sun, so if the wind moves it and the sensor can see that, it will trigger because it's going to look like something warm that's moving. And not only that, you can also have animals. If it's a really big dog and it's close enough to the sensor and it hits one of the sensitive areas, it will definitely trigger the sensor. And the same goes for things like washing, or if you're stupid enough to mount your sensor on a tree and the tree itself is moving, it's also going to trigger. So keep those things in mind and you won't have false triggers. So you might have to trim some trees, you might need to be careful not to put it at your washing line, and sometimes you need to install pattern adjusters to modify the field of view. Alright, so here I've got an actual sensor installation, and that sensor is looking down my driveway. Now I've got one small problem. I've got some really nice big Great Danes. Hello Duke! And they are, this dog weighs like 50 kgs. I've got more than one of them, and they running around here will always be triggering the sensor. So I need to account for that, and I'm going to use a pattern adjuster to do that. But before I do, let me explain how the lens actually works. And for that, I'm going to have to take it off. I fitted it before here quite loosely, so because I'm going to have to take it off with one hand. Now if you look inside, this white area, that's the actual lens. And if you look on the inside, you'll see small little concentric circle details. Those are the areas of the lens that actually focus the infrared energy onto the little sensor inside there. So what we need to do is, if we want to limit the field of view, we need to block off certain areas of this lens. I'm going to pop this adjuster inside there. It literally just mechanically sits there like that. And now it's blocking off all the lens areas at the bottom, and it's only got this horizontal piece, so it only looks like this. And that way I can make it miss all the dogs. Now in exactly the same way, I can actually install pattern adjusters that actually, instead of limiting it to a horizontal slot, I can actually limit it to a vertical slot if I wanted to perhaps cut away vegetation from the field of view. So in summary, if you don't want false triggers, shut up. If you don't want false triggers, no dogs, no moving washing, no moving vegetation, not a moving pig either, no moving nothing. And when installing, may I ask, try and put your sensor under an overhang where it's protected against direct sunlight and direct rain. Yes, it can handle both of those things, but it will last so much longer if it doesn't have to.